tired, I really am tired of hearing about career advancement of middle-class women like myself, or those who are aiming for the top tables, crashing the glass ceilings, and walking across them in their stilettos. And it's not that's not the struggle I feel most engaged in. It needs to happen. It is happening. It's happening too slowly. But what I care about is how little mainstream feminism looks at the poorest and most disempowered women. Why should they care about how many women are in the boardrooms, when those women in the boardrooms, or many of us who have power, have never cared about their lives? There's a very good book written by Nikki Kendall called Hood Feminism. I think it was last year. And she said this: we hear about career advancement and dating, while feminist and body, hair, and last names, but rarely does mainstream feminism center the conversation on issues that concern most women in this country. Can they afford food? Do they have access to healthcare? Are they safe in their homes? Do they have homes at all? Can they meet all of their basic needs? How can this not be a feminist issue? Overwhelmingly, the answer to the last question is no. The movement that is supposed to represent all women is too often not about survival, but about increasing privilege. According to a 2017 report by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the UN, women are more likely to be food insecure than men in every region of the world. Alleviating a women's poverty is a critical feminist issue. And I'm sorry, I haven't seen that much attention paid to this critical feminist issue. And she writes on that the same can be said of gun violence, a feminist issue that is rarely taken on by feminists. The presence of a gun in domestic violence situation. So she's writing as an American, but it is, a lot of young men who are killing each other are in single-parent households where the mothers are working 3 jobs. And I can't understand how we separate that from our emotional commitment to feminism. If feminists care as much about gender equality as they claim, she writes, Nikki Kendall, ending the poverty cycle and improving the quality of life for all women should be the primary focus. And we just witnessed in the last year how many female MPs voting against the basic minimum lift in income, welfare income, that families depend on, voting against providing school lunches during holidays. Women voting for this. And I'm sure if we, when the time comes, like Sarah Vine and like Carrie Johnson, they will grab the feminist, excuse or mantle and ask for our sympathy and empathy. Well, they're not getting it, not from me. Then there's the race and ethnicity issue. There are multiple layers of discrimination which women of color, women of disability, LGBT sector women experience and live through and live with. It's not easy, never easy, being a Black or brown feminist out there or within ourselves, within our families. The kind of sexism and misogyny many of us grow up with in the home is abominable, and it is normative, so that the brother will get the best bits of the chicken. The brother will never be asked to clear the table. The brother will never be stopped from going out when he wants. The sister or the daughter will wait until the men have eaten and then get her food. Even now, even in this country. And I haven't even touched on all those other awful injustices like honor-based abuse and FGM. So of course, you know, there are all these layers upon layers. And Kimberly Crenshaw was the first to kind of come up with this very useful term, intersectionality, rightly noted that feminist efforts focus more on the majority white women in the West and downplay the dimension of race. But she also said something else, which is very important. While anti-racist efforts implicitly center Black men and downplay the dimension of misogyny. So you can see how hard it is. Yeah, your anti-racists will often, as male anti-racists, will not want us to talk about the misogyny in our communities. That distracts from the big anti-racist struggle, of which I am also a part. At the same time, white feminists, maybe through nervousness, and I'll come to that in a minute, kind of want to assume there are no other additional burdens and issues upon us when they so very often are. So intersectionality is vital, but I don't think that gives us the license to behave with wanton aggression and unfair generalizations about white women. And that too is happening too much. I really struggle with that. I don't think it's fair or right to say white women, if they try and get involved, are being white saviors. If they don't care. And there have been two instances recently where I've been, if you like, on the wrong side. And I was very proud to be on the wrong side, because I think identity politics and this kind of division of, ultimately, it's the human agenda, as I said, the commonalities, which include the differences and include awareness and honoring the differences. But ultimately, we will only win if we go together on this road. So there was this, and still carrying on, a big flare-up over the right of Kate Clancy, who wrote a book about being a teacher in an inner city school. And it is a fabulous book. It won the Orwell Prize. Somewhere along the line, she got attacked for some of the descriptions she used. Almond-shaped eyes, chocolate-colored skin. Expressions I use all the time. Almond-shaped eyes are considered beautiful. We all use it. All Indians, Pakistanis, Afghanis will use almond-shaped eyes. But a white woman using them was not acceptable. And she's really been put through the mill. The girl who she described from Afghanistan says she herself uses that description. But that didn't make so these Asian women in particular really went for her and really destabilized her. And I thought this was completely, utterly unfair and totally self-destructive to feminism. If we feminists cannot accept that all of us have the right to interfere in each other's lives, then we're actually living in a kind of feminist apartheid. And I will not live in that kind of world. There was a similar furore when a book was written, actually a really awful book, in my view, very shallow, a kind of deliberately incendiary book, titled Against White Feminism by Rafia Zakaria, an American Muslim writer. She says, white feminists are shallow and consumerist and don't care about Black women, and they're selfish, and then they shouldn't be interfering. And I completely went for her. I said, you are not writing in the 60s when particularly in the United States, when there was a moment when it seemed that Black feminists had to make a really strong case to have their voices heard. We're not living in those times. We have moved into a place, you look at the Women's Equality Party, where it is possible to become allies and equals. Doesn't always happen. But I don't think this kind of scapegoating of white feminists, who wins in the end when they start these kind of stupid feminist wars? It's men who will win, always, every time.
To continue watching this video, click the link in the top left or in the description below, or visit iai.tv for more debates and talks from the world's leading thinkers on today's biggest ideas.